Have you ever really stopped to think about what's happening inside your body right this very second? There's a silent, unbelievably complex war being waged. A super sophisticated army is on patrol 24/7, defending you from all sorts of invisible invaders. This is your immune system, and today we're going to take a guided tour of this incredible internal fortress.
You know, this idea of immunity, it's not new. Not at all. We're talking more than 2,000 years ago. The Greek historian Thucydides, he was watching the plague of Athens, and he noticed something profound. People who got sick and survived, well, they didn't get it again. They had built up some kind of defense. He had no idea about the biology, of course, but he saw the outcome. Memory.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth does a collection of cells learn to recognize an enemy, defeat it, and then remember that enemy for years, sometimes your whole life, just to keep you safe? Well, to answer that, we need to meet the army and see where it hangs out. First up, location. Your immune system isn't just one single organ you can point to. Nope, it's a whole network of tissues and organs all spread throughout your body. The best way to think about them is like military bases, right? Each one has a very specific job. Some are for training up the new recruits, and others are basically the front lines where attacks are launched. And here's how that breaks down. On one side, you have the primary lymphoid organs. These are the training grounds. We're talking the thymus and your bone marrow. This is where your immune cells, these things called lymphocytes, are born and educated. It's like boot camp. They learn their job before they ever see a real enemy. Then on the other side, you have the secondary organs, like your spleen and lymph nodes. These are the battlefields. This is where those fully trained, mature cells hang out, just waiting to get activated by an invasion. All right, so we know where they operate. Now let's meet the soldiers themselves. And just like any good army, your immune system has all kinds of different cells, each one with a highly specialized job. You've got your frontline infantry, you've got your heavy-duty cleanup crews, and then you've got your elite special forces, who are basically running the whole show. First into the fight, the neutrophils. These guys are the most common of all your white blood cells. They are the foot soldiers, the ones who get the first call and just rush to the site of an infection. Their strategy is beautifully simple and effective. Find the invader, eat it, destroy it. And get this, your body makes over 100 billion of them every single day. They are truly the martyrs of your immune system. Next up, meet the macrophages. The name literally means big eaters, and they are amazing at what they do. They're like the heavy-duty cleanup crew. Not only do they swallow up pathogens, but they also clear out all the dead cells and junk left over from the battle. But here's what makes them so important. They also act like intelligence officers. They actually take pieces of the enemy they just destroyed, these little molecular flags called antigens, and show them to other immune cells to rally a much more specific, targeted attack. And now we get to meet our special ops forces. First up, the B lymphocytes, or B cells for short. These cells are basically walking weapons factories. When a B cell bumps into an invader that it recognizes, it completely transforms. It becomes something called a plasma cell and starts pumping out millions and millions of these tiny Y-shaped proteins called antibodies. These are the precision-guided missiles of your immune system. And of course, every army needs its field commanders. That's where the T lymphocytes, or T cells, come in. They mature in the thymus. That's where the T comes from. And you've got two main kinds. You've got helper T cells, which are the coordinators. They're the ones activating and directing the other immune cells. Then you have the cytotoxic T cells. These are the assassins. Their job is to hunt down your own body's cells that have been hijacked by a virus and take them out. So B cells and T cells, they lead two totally different branches of this elite immune response. B cells from the bone marrow run the humoral immunity show, fighting invaders floating around in your body's fluids with antibodies. T cells from the thymus, they coordinate cell-mediated immunity, directly attacking infected cells or sending out chemical signals called cytokines to direct the whole battle. But look at that last row, lifespan. B cells are short-lived, but T cells can live for years. And that right there is a massive clue to how our body creates that long-term memory. So let's zoom in on those weapons, the antibodies, for just a second. These things, also called immunoglobulins, are just one of the most elegant and effective tools in our entire biological arsenal. They don't just go around killing things randomly. No, they're custom built for one specific target. That Y shape is absolutely key to how it works. See the two arms at the top? They form a perfect, specific lock for one particular bad guy, one antigen. It's like a key fitting into a lock. It only works for one. And the base of that Y, that acts like a bright red flag, signaling to other cells like the macrophages, hey, over here, I've captured an enemy, come and get it. And antibody is not a one-size-fits-all kind of word. There are actually 5 main types or classes, and each one has a special job. For instance, IgG is the workhorse. It's the most common one in your blood and is the key to long-term immunity. Then there's IgM. That's the first responder antibody that shows up early in an infection. IgA stands guard in your gut and lungs. And IgE, well, that's the one famous for its role in allergies.
So, how does the body actually deploy all these different cells and weapons? It's pretty smart. It uses a two-phase defense strategy. First, there's the immediate all-out response. And then there's the much more calculated strategic campaign.
On one side, you've got innate immunity. This is your body's first line of defense. It is super fast. It kicks in within minutes, but it's not specific. It attacks any and all invaders the same way. Those first responders we talked about, the neutrophils and macrophages, they're the stars of the show. Then, on the other side, you've got adaptive immunity. This is the elite force, led by your B cells and T cells. It is way slower to get going. It can take days to fully activate, but its attack is hyperspecific and incredibly powerful. And this is the system that creates that all-important memory.
And this, right here, brings us full circle. It takes us right back to our original question and that quote from Thucydides. The real power, the genius of the adaptive immune system isn't just in defeating an invader once, it's in remembering the battle plan forever.
Just look at this timeline. This shows you the power of memory in action. So on day 0, you get exposed to something new. The response is slow, it's kind of weak, as your body tries to figure out what's going on. By about day 7 to 14, your antibody levels peak, but they're still not that high. But here's the magic. Your body has now created memory cells. So now look what happens when you see that same bug again, let's say on day 30. The secondary response is lightning fast and unbelievably powerful. Your antibody levels are exponentially higher, and the invader gets wiped out before you probably even feel sick.
And that's the bottom line. That's the whole game. This immunological memory is why you don't get the same exact cold or flu bug over and over again. It's the entire scientific principle behind how vaccines work. They train your adaptive immune system to recognize a threat without you ever having to get sick in the first place.
It's an absolutely incredible system of defense, something that's been refined over millions and millions of years of evolution. But because it's so powerful and so complex, sometimes it makes mistakes. What happens when this finely tuned army loses the ability to tell the difference between you and not you? What happens when it turns all those powerful weapons on your own body? Well, that's the basis of autoimmune disease, and that is a story for another time.